Hey y'all, Clucky crew, welcome back to Crissyo's Clucky Chronicles on YouTube and CrissyoShow.com. Well, anyway, we're just going to start pecking at the juiciest bits of chicken lore. I'm here for it. I hope you're here for it too. I mean, that's why I'm talking to you, right? So, I'm Crissyo, in case you didn't know. I'm your feathered little weird fact finder, and today, oh my gosh, we're going to be diving beak first into the chicken battlefield. Oh yeah, totally going there. So, ever wonder if your backyard buddy could be a secret agent? Well, buckle up, y'all, because in Feathered Spies, Chickens That Changed Wars and Won Battles, we're going to be uncovering how these cluckers went from farmyard flops to military MVPs. We're going to be talking from ancient oracles to modern detectors. These birds have ruffled more than just feathers. They've also shaped history. So we'll cover Romans consulting hens before clashes, Civil War pets saving the day, or at least breakfast, and World War II home front heroes, and even chickens sniffing out danger in other places. So stick around for puns, a few facts, and a few of my own coop confessions. So if you're new here, just go on ahead and hit that subscribe button and have more fun than your little fluffy hiney can handle. Let's just make this whole Clucky's Chronicles just clucktastic, and I want you to be a flock star, okay? Let's march on. All right, flock stars, let's time travel back to ancient Rome, because who knew the empire that built roads and aqueducts also built their battle plans around breakfast birds? Okay, fact numero uno, y'all. The Romans had a sacred chickens now as official oracles. Now, these weren't your average coop dwellers. They were pampered hens that were kept by a priest called augurs. Now, before any big military move like invading a neighbor or charging in the battle, the general would watch how these chickens ate their grain. Now, if they pecked eagerly, well, they got victory vibes. If they ignored it or just scattered it around, bad omens, and they had to abort mission. Now take Julius Caesar. Yeah, y'all know that guy. So he consulted these feathered fortune tellers before crossing the Rubicon in 49 BC. That was kicking off his civil war. But the real drama? Let's flash to 249 BC during the First Punic War. Now Consul Publius Claudius Pulcher was all set for a naval showdown at Drepana against Carthage. He tosses grain to the sacred chickens, and they just kind of cluck around not eating it. Now, Pulcher, being a hothead, yells, "If they won't eat, let them drink," and chucks them floofs overboard. Oh my gosh. All right, here's a spoiler. Rome lost big time, okay? 93 ships were sunk, thousands were dead. Moral of the story, I guess, never ignore your chicken advisors. Let's just talk about in my coop, okay? So in my coop, like if Nanaroo, if he ignores his feed and doesn't drink and doesn't do stuff and he's acting all weird and lethargic, I know that's vet time, right? We all got common sense, because our chickens, you know, these birds are smarter than we think. You know, we call them dumb sometimes, we pick on them, make fun, but they're really smarter than we think. So Romans, they even mummified chickens in Egypt. They influenced rituals, they treated them like gods. I mean, I don't go that far with my floofs. If one of them crosses over the Rainbow Bridge, I just bury them, you know? But the Romans were a little different. Now, in archaeological digs in Roman camps, it shows like chicken bones everywhere, just proving they were camp staples for eggs and morale. So imagine, you got soldiers marching with portable coops. And Alexander the Great, wait, did he? Hold up. So, while Alex was more into horses, his successors in the Hellenistic era spread chickens across empires as rations. One account says that armies hauled thousands of birds for fresh protein on long campaigns. So, a clucky fact I found out is chickens originated in Southeast Asian jungles around 8,000 years ago, the jungle fowl. They were tamed for cockfighting, but Romans turned them into like some sort of prophecy prose. Are you mind blown? Mine is. Clucky crew, if ancient chickens were oracles, then hey, Civil War ones were straight up survival sidekicks, y'all. So enter like Nellie, the black hen who became General Robert E. Lee's wartime pet during the American Civil War. So picture this, 1862, Virginia campaign's just raging. Food scarce, soldiers is starving, but Lee, well, he's got this plucky little hen trailing his army like a feathered shadow. So Nellie laid an egg for him almost every day. So he had fresh protein in a time of rations. Now Lee obviously doted on her, calling her his little friend, and she'd perch near his tent, just clucking away his stress. Now historians say that she boosted morale. Soldiers saw her as a good luck charm. I probably would too. But war's no fairy tale. So in 1863, during the Gettysburg campaign, Nellie, unfortunately, that hen met a tragic end. Now, some accounts say she was accidentally killed by a soldier. Others, Lee had cooked her for a special dinner when supplies ran low. But either way, y'all, she went from pet to plate. But her story literally lives and clucks on as a symbol of wartime bonds. So, kind of reminds me of my little Tam. She follows me everywhere. She lays eggs just like clockwork. And you gotta admit, in tough times, these floofy chickens, these birds, y'all, they are lifesavers. Now, chickens were common in Civil War camps on both sides, okay? Union and Confederate troops kept them for eggs and meat, with some regiments even having mascot hens, which I find absolutely awesome. Now, archaeological finds from battle sites show chicken remains, just proving that they were literally like mobile mess halls. Oh, and get this, y'all. In sieges like Petersburg in 1864 to 65, Army sometimes catapulted live animals over walls to spread chaos or disease. Now, chickens, prime candidates for feathered projectiles. I mean, imagine that squawking surprise. Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, it's not cool by today's standards, and we don't catapult animals or chickens, but history is kind of wild, y'all. So, if you know of a, war story with an animal or pet or something in it, heck, you might even have one from your own coop with your own chicken or whatever, just put it in the comments below. Like, hey, has your chicken ever battled like a raccoon or a dog or a duck or something? Just let me know. We're going to go onward to the 20th century, because World War II, they turned chickens into home front heroes. So let's do that. So fast forward into World War II. Cluckers. All right. The big ones. So while these soldiers were fighting overseas, back home, chickens were enlisted now in the Victory Flock campaign. Now, you've heard me talk about this before in some other vlogs and podcast shows, so if you haven't heard those, go back and listen to them or go back and watch them. So we know that governments in the U.S. and the U.K., they urged families to raise backyard hens just to combat the food shortages that were going on. Because let me tell y'all, rationing hit very, very hard. Eggs were gold, okay? It was protein. And one single hen could produce 200 plus eggs a year. That could feed a family without dipping into any type of supplies or emergency supplies or used as emergency supplies, you know? And posters literally screamed, "Raise chickens for victory." And millions did that. I think that is so good. Now, in the U.S., urban coops, they were popping up everywhere. Even Eleanor Roosevelt had White House chickens, okay? And here's another little floofy fun fact. So by 1943, American backyard flocks hit record highs, and they were producing billions of eggs to support the war effort. But wait, chickens got sneaky too. In Britain, Operation Chicken wasn't official, but resistance fighters hid radios and messages in coops to evade Nazi spies. How about that? Chickens' constant clucking actually masked the Morse code beeps. And in occupied Europe, partisans smuggled fertilized eggs to start like secret flocks for underground food networks. Okay? Now, growing up with both sets of grandparents, my Granny Lorene, even though Papa wasn't in any kind of war or anything, Granny Lorene would tell us stories of their, I guess what we would call a victory garden, because she had hens and they would outproduce the neighbors. She had a lot of clucky power. Now, my other grandparents, my grandpapa, Charlie, was a World War II veteran, and his wife, my Granny Ludibel, which you guys have heard me talk about them before. They had gardens as well. They had chickens, all kinds of stuff, because times were tough. But they could at least rely on that form of protein, because you can fix an egg any old way. And just the things that they would tell us back then, how rough it was, but how they could rely on their garden and how they could rely on their chickens outproducing everybody else around and them being able to share. That is some serious clucky power. Well, overseas, the U.S. military, they experimented with animals in kind of wild ways, okay? While pigeons guided missiles, chickens, they tested gear. So in 1944, the Army used hens in wicker baskets for parachute drops, kind of simulating troop ejections to safety. Oh, and let's don't forget the Pacific Theater. Troops in jungles kept portable coops for morale, and that was just boosting omelets and different kinds of things you got to eat. You know, you got to survive. And one tale that they told was during the Battle of Guadalcanal, a Marine unit credited them surviving, was their surviving hen for psychological warfare. Her crowing confused the Japanese scouts. So that's interesting. And then there's like a statistic, a global statistic that was published that said World War II boosted chicken farming worldwide. Post-war, it led to modern poultry industries. That's kind of mind-ruffling, right? And I've done vlogs and podcast shows and things on this before, on the history of chickens and how they evolved and how we ended up doing what we're doing today. So just go back and watch those and listen to those. It's some pretty interesting stuff. Well, I'm going to tell you that Crissyo's Clucky Chronicles wouldn't be complete without the espionage era. We got to talk about it, okay? So during the Cold War, the CIA got creative in Vietnam. In the 1960s and 70s, under operations like Phoenix, agents actually smuggled hens into villages for egg diplomacy. They had to build trust with locals with fresh produce while gathering intel. So chickens as cover? Well, I kind of think that's genius. You got protein drops that boosted alliances, and coops hid like microfilms. And here's another little fun fact that we were reading about, is declassified documents show poultry programs fed troops and spies alike. So chickens played a really big part in that. Now we're going to zoom forward to 2003 with the Iraq War. So chickens as biodetectors was kind of interesting read for me. So U.S. Marines deployed sentinel chickens in coops near bases. So like coal mine canaries, if you've ever heard of that. If not, go look it up. So kind of like coal mine canaries, if I can get it out right. These birds were hypersensitive to chemical agents. So if Saddam Hussein launched gas attacks, the hens would drop first and that would alert the troops. Sadly, many did, but they also saved lives. So there you go. So post-war, similar tactics, they popped up in other conflicts. Now, like today, we're told that drones, they drop aid eggs in disasters. It kind of, it just echoes wartime logistics, so that kind of thing. So, eggs, chickens, they do a lot of things, and they've done a lot of things throughout history. So, chickens, they teach us resilience in a lot of different ways. Literally, from Roman oracles to modern martyrs, they've been unsung heroes. Now, in my coop, they're just fluffy little family members. But history, I have to say, chickens are absolute legends no matter how you look at it. Woohoo! All right, y'all Clucky crew. So, what battlefield bash were you more interested in? What did you like about it and knowing things and just reading stuff? There's so much out there that you can read and explore on chickens and eggs and all kinds of stuff. I just think it's pretty cool. From sacred Roman peckers to Iraq's feathered alarms, we just know that chickens have literally clucked their way through history's toughest spots. So, which story did you like? What ruffled your feathers the most? Just drop it in the comments and let me know. Just like if you're team chicken spy or if you're team chicken pet. Just subscribe for more Clucky Chronicles right here with your good old friend Crissyo. And next up, I don't know, maybe we'll do some Clucky myths and we'll bust up a few of those. So anyway, just remember, in life's wars, be like a chicken, adaptable and excellent. Catch that little pun there? I know you did because you're smart. Anyway, thanks for watching Crissyo's Clucky Chronicles. I'm going to go ahead and cluck out with a bang. I hope y'all have a fabulous day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to join us and sign up free on CrissyoShow.com. I heart y'all great big. And if you can't be good, I don't know what else to tell y'all but to be good at it.